Well, we made another stop, but this time it's Concord, North Carolina. We've made our way to FABrication Racing Exhaust Systems, another one of our great sponsors here at the PDRA, part of our winter series here. I gotta tell you something. This place is cool. It's state-of-the-art. They not only make drag racing headers, but they make them for every kind of racing there is in the world. Come on in. Again, we'll have some fun. So, Jimmy, just about like a chassis shop where you'd walk into that thing and see a whole bunch of tubing, there is some tubing in this building. But, Drew, you also start with some flat stock. Tell me how this is going to work out over here.
Well, we start for some of the exotic material that we do, the 625 Inconel and the lightweight 035 wall 2 3/4, which would be, in drag racing world, the bottom tubes of the Zoomies that you see on Tommy Franklin, Lizzie Musey's car. We start with flat stock, and over here Richard's going to cut some flat stock, and then we're going to roll it, we're going to weld it, and we're going to planish it and make it a tube.
So he's physically starting with a flat piece of material right there, and by the time it's all said and done, we're going to go through this procedure. That thing's going to be rolled, and that's a stand-up, actually a hydraulic-type shear, right?
Yes, it's a hydraulic shear. It's cutting the flat stock. That's going to be an actual tube. When it's all said and done, when it gets to the customer, that's going to be a bent piece of tubing.
Now, what percentage of the headers that you actually build start as flat stock?
I'd say in real world, probably 50 to 60%.
Really?
Yes.
So once you get to once he gets to the point where he goes there, we'll make our move this way. I'll get out of your way there. Tell me what this machine actually is going to do.
This is going to roll the tubing and put it in the first step of making it round into a piece of tubing.
And we have seen a lot of automated stuff before, and I'm really anxious to see this. Wow. And just spits that thing right out of there.
Yep, that's a piece of round tubing.
I'll be dang. So you program that thing. It can be programmed for all different sizes, obviously. Yep. And now what are we doing?
It's going to be welded now. We're going to put the weld bead on the seam. It's going to push it together. Going to weld the seam. It's going on right now, you can see. And then it'll come out the other end, and it'll be a welded piece of tubing.
Totally automated in there, being welded, right?
Yep.
Wow. Never seen anything like it. That is so cool. Blows me away. We've seen so many types of these, of CNC equipment, whether it be pistons or whatever the case might be, but never have seen one that could. I've never seen an automated welder.
It is pretty cool. And when I started working here, I was pretty amazed, but now it's become day to day, and we do this daily. Richard works real hard at getting all of our stuff for the NASCAR, all the 625 Inconel for all of our cup stuff. Richard rolls and welds all of it every day.
Wow, that is way cool. Okay, so it's going to pop out the other end out here, right? And there'll be another, I assume, function after this. And how can you just reach in there and get that?
It's warm. It's warm.
Wow, look at that weld, Jimmy. How cool is that?
Now Richard's going to do the last step and planish it. That one's a little warm. We can't do that one.
Okay, I got you.
That one prepped for us already. That one's a little
Okay, so explain to me, if you don't mind, when you say planish it.
It flattens the weld bead so that it's a true circle inside and out. Okay. So you're going to see there's going to be it's going to come down and hold the tubing, and then you're going to have the inner die go in, lift up, and then there's going to be a die that rolls everything flat.
Oh, it's taking the weld. It's actually taking that thing and actually making it more circular, period. I mean,
making it a perfect circle. That is the best tubing that you're going to get.
That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And Richard looks like the type of fellow that's been here for a while. Am I right or wrong?
Richard, how long have you been here for, Richard? Richard's been here 12 years. He's a great employee. He works hard every day. And without Richard, we wouldn't have some of this material to bend and make headers for NASCAR, PDRA, IHRA, NHRA, for all of the guys that have our tubing. Richard's hands are pretty much the first hands that get on any tubing.
You know, your help, you guys are great marketing partners with us, the PDRA, but tell me, and I said this outside, you guys are into road racing, NASCAR. Tell me what all you build pipes for.
We build headers for drag racing, for Pro Mod motorcycle, for the Daytona prototypes. The Action Coyote cars run our stuff, and we're proud to say that the number 5 car last year finished every lap in competition, was a champion. We had the Pro Boost champion for PDRA, Pro Extreme champion for PDRA, runner-up in Pro Nitrous, Pro Mod bike champion, and IHRA and PDRA Pro Stock champion.
All right, so Drew, fill me in right here. We know that this header right here is the type header that we see a lot in PDR events, and understand this is even Todd Tudrow's header.
Yeah, this is Todd Tudrow, the 2014 Pro Boost champion. This is for his new engine combination on the Pro Extreme car. Frank here is working on the bottom bracket, getting it ready to go. Todd should have this header in hand on Tuesday, and today being Friday. On Tuesday, he should have this header ready to go for PDRA competition.
Very cool, and I think they're also in the midst right now, as I recall, of putting 1 or 2 more cars together. John, his man John, I can't think of his last name.
Yes, we have, once Frank's finished with this header, we're going to build the duplicate to this header, and when the new car's ready, we're going to have the header for that car ready to go too. Very
cool. And listen, let me make this perfectly clear. Like you've seen at a number of stops we've made during our PDRA TV Winter Series, you see that there's some things covered up here. Tell them why.
Well, this is proprietary. We don't need to get our secrets out to the general public because Steve has spent a lot of time and effort to master the fixturing process here, and we can duplicate this header time and time again, and we just don't need to share any of that with anybody else.
Very cool, and I'm going to tell you something, folks. That is one good-looking header, and once again, this is your man Frank working on it, right?
Yep, this is Frank over here. He's the Zoomy man here. His days and weeks consist of building Zoomies. I think he's done 5 or 6 of them in a row. Cody Barkley just picked up his header. Todd's getting 3 in a row, and Stouffer's going to get one also.
What are we doing right here in this operation?
This is the tailpipe for our Sprint Cup Series cars. Basically, the exhaust and tailpipes that exit out on the right side of the car. This tubing is thick wall, heavy stuff. And what we got here is a 1/2 going in, and then a divider so that the tubing stays together and harmonics doesn't blow it apart. And then we give them 2 halves, a divider. It gets welded together, and once that's all done, we'll show you here. It comes out as one solid tube, and then we weld the whole entire tube together.
So unlike what we have seen in the drag racing part of things, where everything is round, for the most part, the exhaust systems on these Cup Series type cars are elongated, or how do you call it?
We call it oval. It's oval tubing, and this is the largest circumference area allowed by NASCAR. They do it for ground clearance and aero package. Some teams have a few different ways of attacking it, but we supply a lot of the Cup teams with the tubing to build their exhaust.
So very similar by nature. This thing starts as a flat piece, and you'd go through the same type of process as we saw earlier, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. It doesn't get rolled. It gets bent on a break, and then it's in 2 halves, and then we put the center divider in there. This is what's the thickness of this? 083 wall tubing. Then we got some heavy stuff here. Wow. This is 114 thickness tubing that doesn't need a center divider, but it's still 2 separate pieces that get welded together the same way. This just gets a bevel on it and gets welded. So 2 halves make 1 pipe, oval, for ground clearance and aero for Cup. You know about Cup stuff. It's all about aerodynamics.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a question about the divider we see the young man working on here. What is its actual purpose then?
The pressure of the exhaust over time with harmonics off the throttle creates so much turbulence inside the pipe that we found them to break and blow apart. So this has been the progression of evolution of the pipe to make it live for 500 miles.
Okay, so for all intents and purposes, it's not meant for a performance advantage. It's actually meant for durability.
A complete durability. These Cup teams want everything light, and sometimes you have to give up weight for durability.
No kidding, man. That is so unbelievable. And you talk about a fixture now. Is this a type thing that you would have built yourself here?
Steve built this whole fixture and made it so that we can streamline it and get this tubing together. It still takes some time to do it, but it's still faster than doing it manually by hand because we can repeat the tubing time after time. Daniel here has been building this stuff for the past, month and a half. We've been putting tubing out for all of these Cup teams. The orders keep coming in the door, and we're excited about that. we're glad to be on all these cup teams, but it's a lot of work on the backside.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you what, when you're down in this area, that's exactly what it is. This is Cup Teamville, if you will. I mean, I couldn't even dream how many teams are down here.
Oh, there's plenty of teams. I mean, we supply to Stuart Haas, to Richard Childress, to Earnhardt Childress Race Engines, Joe Gibbs, Kyle Busch Motorsports. We supply a lot of teams with a lot of parts.
That is amazing. I got to tell you something, Jimmy. I'm not kidding you. We've been through some cool stuff. I mean, from chassis builders and pistons, and this is really, really, really a cool deal. By the way, if you get an opportunity, take a shot right there to your left and that kind of that finished product. And tell me about that right there. It's actually obviously a cut piece.
That's the heavy wall tubing that we weld together. So it's two halves welded together, and then it goes into our bender, and we bend it. The demand for bent tubing came up. Steve devised tooling, and we bend oval tubing. That's on the horizontal plane for the tailpipes and the exits of different team needs.
Well, we're going to catch up with Dale, and Daniel continues on the piece. Now, we've tack welded the piece of that fixture there. Tell me what we're going to do here, Dale.
Well, now we begin just a little bit of button pushing. What he's done here, he's put the part, loaded in, clamped it down, and now he's going to align both ends. And we'll start, it's basically just like a CNC machine, works on the X, Y, Z axis. Right now he's going to come down, he's going to check the alignment of the tungsten, and he'll do alignment on this end, and then he'll run it down to the next end and do the alignment. That just keeps the weld pretty much in line. And then once he gets it aligned with everything, he'll do the go back and hit his buttons again and start the welding process. And we feed it in with the wire up top here with the automatic spool wire feed.
So is that tungsten then or no?
No, there's just regular, like a mild steel filler rod that comes in. And we can adjust the wire speed also of how much filler we want to go in there. We can adjust the heat over here, and we've got all kind of other little adjustments there for basically wherever we want the tungsten to weld. We can do a bigger, wider weld or a smaller weld.
So is this considered a TIG or a MIG then?
It's considered a TIG.
Gotcha. So basically everything you do in here is all TIG welded.
Pretty much. I mean, there are some cases where we do the MIG welding on some stuff, but preferably everybody wants the TIG welding.
Absolutely. And man, it's gotten to the point now where, and I got to tell you something, up till today, I'd never seen an automated welder before today, and that's something to really see.
You may could come around and get a glimpse of it through the shield here. We just got one little window, and basically we'll just watch it and make sure everything continues to work. The wire keeps feeding in, and it's filling in the divider there. What it does, it melts the two halves and the divider together all in one section there, so it holds the two pieces together. And
the other good thing about the TIG welder is it doesn't create near as much heat, so you don't have to worry about the warping as much, right?
Correct, and it's a lot nicer looking weld, and it lays flatter for the teams because they're going to run this underneath the frame rail out the side of the car, so they want it tucked up as tight as they can get it to the frame rail. And that's another good part about that. You don't have to go back and grind it, sand it, or nothing. Once you weld it here, it's ready to go out the door.
Man, I tell you what, another very, very cool operation here. It's unbelievable, man. I'm not kidding you. I mean, you guys are awesome. Profab headers, man, I'm telling you, Dale, and again, Daniel. That's right. Sorry about that. Putting them together, man, knocking them out. It's NASCAR stuff, man, drag racing stuff, road racing stuff. Anything you could think of, it gets done here. Well, we made our way back to the actual tubing bending department. How many bends there total? Probably 5 total?
Yeah, you got 5 bends in that one tube.
That is so cool. Now, let me ask you something about your material that you're using. And, unlike going to your local muffler shop and, they'll throw up in the pipe bending machines they have, but they always have kinks. How do you keep that from happening?
Oh, well, that's what the mandrel bender is that we put in there. It's not a press bend like it used to be. And the material that we're using here, I'm going to assume, Philip, is a 304 18-gauge stainless. 16-gauge, that's the long life material. It's a little heavier, but it'll get the longevity and failure rate is far less when you're not worried about weight.
And the next question I'm going to have to ask you is, what is the actual reason that Philip is putting lubrication in that thing?
Well, the inside there, if Jimmy's catching on the video, there's an actual mandrel inside that fills the tube. So when it's bent, it bends with the tube. So there's a mandrel that's sliding in and out in there, and it needs lubrication so that it doesn't bind up and get the wrinkles that we don't want.
And that is so cool. Man, just one more thing here at this fabulous facility. I can't even tell you how many square foot is this thing all total?
It's about 22,000 square feet. And we're kind of busting at the seams here. We're looking for some sort of expansion. How it's going to happen, we don't know. Steve's a little puzzled on how we're going to do that.
All right, so we're at yet another stage. Now, I've seen some tumblers before, but take us through the kind of the final finish thing. I see chemical tanks and, of course, 3 great big tumblers.
Well, the chemical tanks, after it comes out of the bender, it goes into a hot wash tank, and then it goes in with soap and chemical to clean the tube, and you get all of the lubricant that we saw put in there so that the tube doesn't kink when it bends. Then it goes into rinse tanks and goes in these baskets to be put into inventory for a header build or what we're going to use it for. And then we take a header. We have a cleaning process that we also do for the racers. If they want their headers cleaned and tumbled, we do that. And Daniel over here has got a dirty header that he's going to put into the tumbler. This was run already and raced, and you know, it's just here for a cleaning and gone through. So this header here is going to go in the tumbler. It'll stay in here for about 8 hours in the rough tumbler, and then we'll pull something out of here that's been in here for a little bit. What do you got in here, Daniel? This is what the tubing looks like after it's been in here for a couple hours. It's near polished. It's got all the hot rough edges taken off, and it's ready to go into the finished tumbler.
Okay, so what? I'm going to ask you this question. Maybe I'm wrong. These two look the same. They pretty well are, right? Okay, so it's just a matter of that you have 2 of them going at any given time, right?
Yes, sir.
Very cool. And so where do they finish up at? Then I assume it'd be right here. You can tell by looking, obviously, Jimmy, these are much finer.
This is ceramic.
And that's totally ceramic there.
Yeah, this is ceramic material. Daniel knows this stuff a little better than I do. We got to go fishing for a header, Daniel? Yeah. Find it.
Let's find one in there right quick. Oh, there's your fishing tool. All right. Man, Daniel does about everything around here, doesn't he? I've seen him everywhere.
Daniel's a jack of all trades. I wouldn't want Daniel's job for the life of me. He works way too hard for me.
Oh, my gosh. Look at that thing.
This is how our headers leave the facility all the time. Fully 100% polished stainless steel. If anyone didn't know any better, they look chrome-plated. But the pride that we take in our product is second to none, and it must leave like this.
Well, Drew, I got to say, man, no job too big or too small. You do repairs as well.
Yeah, this is some of our teams are a little harsh on parts. You know, sometimes these Cup teams and NASCAR teams wreck, and you know, as evident to TV. But we repair them, we fix them. You can see the one down here has got a hole in it. They also go through the cleaning process. They like to have us examine the header and make sure that it's functional for another couple thousand miles. So we take them back here, we clean them, check them, and send them back.
Well, first of all, Drew, I want to say thank you so kindly for allowing us to be here today.
Oh, no problem. Anytime. We're happy to support the PDRA. The Professional Drag Racing Association is the premier drag racing facility.
That's really cool. And listen, I've actually caught up with the owner of this place, and you want to know why we haven't yet? Because he's a hands-on working man, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Sousley is his name. And Steve, I tell you, what a facility you got here, man.
I appreciate you guys coming in and showing off our product a little bit. We're really proud of what we do here. We try to have a good quality product and support the racing community as best we can.
And you certainly have done a job there. And you got some great employees, obviously, here. They work hard, and these are some quality products.
Yes, they do. I've got very many talented people here, craftsmen and people that really care about what they're doing. So it's great to have all of these people here, and it's great to be part of the PDRA.
You're watching PDRA TV.